Hi, I'm Peter Capaldi. I play the Doctor, and you're watching EMS Productions.
Hi everyone, welcome along to this week's review video, part 2 of my review of Hellbent, the Series 9 finale of Doctor Who, of course, where I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last week where we were looking at a shielder, and as I mentioned last week, make sure you check last week's video out if you haven't seen it already, the first part. I mentioned that I recorded this several months ago, before I had all my break from YouTube and stuff, and it wasn't going to be 2 parts, so I've had to split it up at a sort of random point that fitted fairly well within it, and adding these little intros and outros as well. So I hope you can still enjoy it as it is. So despite the slightly awkward cut, in this video you'll be finding out my thoughts on a shielder returning to Doctor Who for one final, hopefully final, appearance, and Clara's final exit and how I sort of feel about everything around that. So I'll let you get straight back into it with my thoughts on what's going on with the shielder. Hope you enjoy it. Back for one last time, hopefully one last time, please, yes Stephen, last time, where she's at the end of the universe, everything's gone except her. Apparently all the other immortals died, so what happened to Captain Jack I have no idea, seeing as a shielder supposedly can die. She'll never age, and to some degree she'll heal, but if someone just like shot her in the head, I'm very sure she'd die, if I've understood the rules of her immortality correctly. So I find it slightly hard to believe that she didn't get into an accident at some point across billions and billions of years, and actually she's the only one who's made it to the end of the universe when Captain Jack seemingly can't die from anything, and yet he's not there. It would have been a great opportunity to throw Captain Jack back in, but no, Stephen, you didn't, which is disappointing. But there you go, and so we all get this scene about, oh, what's the hybrid? Oh, maybe it's me. No, it's the Doctor. No, it's the Doctor and Clara, and it was all just kind of. It didn't work for me. This ending, this resolution of the hybrid arc. It's kind of too open-ended, I think, because they're like at first, oh, it's me. It's a shielder because she's half human and she's half Maya. That's nice. That's interesting. That's a nice concept. No, it's not that much of a shock, but it's quite interesting. But then she's just like, oh no, how about this idea as well we could throw in the mix? Why do you always go to Earth? Maybe you're half human and all this kind of stuff. Clearly, I think that it's an interesting point here. And clearly Stephen's just trying to subtly hint something. And my belief and thoughts are that the Doctor is half human, I think. I think there is something more to it than just he likes Earth. I don't think it's a thing about, oh, he ran away because he was afraid of himself or something like that, but I do think that there's a very strong case that he may be half human. I'm not sure whether we'll ever actually get, I don't think we'll ever get it outright stated, frankly. I don't think they'll ever fully canonise it. They'll just leave it as sort of implied and something open to interpretation, because I think it would cause too much sort of fan upheaval, if you like, if they actually made it outright, because people just sort of ignore the line from the TV movies saying, oh, it was just post-regeneration gibberish, if you like. But I do think that he's half human, and but I don't think they'll ever clarify it completely, but I have no problem with that. So we get that one, which is another interesting idea. Maybe we should have just stuck with that one. But no, let's throw out another one, that it's actually the Doctor and Clara together. They form the hybrid because they're too dangerous together, and they put together with Missy because she likes to cause chaos, and together they are causing chaos. And that they're going to cause destruction and everything bad, and it's all going to be going wrong. So why, Stephen, couldn't you just pick one of those three? One of the three. Pick one of those three. And explain it fully, do it properly, give us nice sort of scenes and explanations rather than all this sort of just discussions and suggestions and ideas that we get for 5 or 6 minutes, which all just, it's not quite doing it for me. So it's a slightly underwhelming end to the hybrid arc, because it's basically the end of the hybrid arc. And it's disappointing that because it had a lot of potential. I remember people sort of saying, oh, what will the hybrid look like? It could have been a very interesting kind of, almost, maybe if it was actually half Dalek, half human, or half Time Lord even, it could have been another Davros-y style look to a character, to a hybrid creature or whatever. It was, so overall, yeah, it was a little bit disappointing. But we get the nice emotional scene coming up next to kind of make up for it. And so of course the Doctor's taken his neural block thing from the Time Lords earlier in the episode, so he's already planned out what's got to happen, what's always going to have to happen in the end. And, well, he's got to wipe Clara's memory, and then it makes even more sense the waitress Clara, because it would seem, that Clara doesn't remember who Clara is, which is why the Doctor's able to sort of explain this story in this way to her, because she doesn't know any of it anymore, and she doesn't know him and all this sort of stuff. So at that point I was still convinced that Clara was going to get her memory wiped, even though it was kind of like, it's too obvious, so therefore it'll be a twist. But then Moffat's done very obvious things before, so I was very much on a Clara's going to get her memory wiped at the end of this, because that's just made sense with the rest of the episode, frankly. But no, she reversed the polarity. She got to say it at the end. She got to say it in the last few moments of her journey on the show. She gets to talk about a classic Third Doctor line, and well, the Doctor's not convinced that she has, but he doesn't know for sure, and so they do it as they've always done it, he says, together. Actually, one other line that I really, really like, which is the one where he says, "Look how far I came for fear of losing you." And I like to, and it kind of just makes, it sort of sometimes makes me think of the sort of, look how long we've been together, how far we've travelled around the whole universe, and I've come all the way to the end of the universe for this. And it sort of makes, because Clara's obviously the longest running New Who companion, I believe. And so I thought it was just a nice, at least in my head, that sort of thinking about, look how far we came from back in that little, well, even from Asylum of the Daleks, and but properly from in the Bells of St. John, just back on Earth at Clara's home, when she's saved for the first time by the 11th Doctor. And look how far I came all this way to the end of the universe just to try and keep you safe and through all these adventures we've had. And so I thought that was, it probably has more meaning to me than it does to a lot of people, but I just really like the line and the way that's all sort of done. Well, that scene in general is fantastic, and then because the Doctor knows that, and I think Clara does know as well, that they can't keep doing this, because they're going to tear the worlds apart, if you like, if they stick together, because they've just become too destructive together. They're such best friends and travel for so long together that they've become dangerous. They've become the hybrid, which is where obviously the hybrid kind of is resolved. They've effectively become the hybrid together, this creature that's going to like kill 1,000 hearts or something to heal its own and this sort of stuff. And they've become the hybrid, and so they know that one of them's got to wipe their memory, one of them's got to say goodbye and move on with their life, if you like. And they don't know which one it's going to be, and Clara's like, just, oh, why can't we just not do this? Let's just carry on. It'd be so great to have like that. And well, it's just like so many of us fans just saying, yeah, let's carry on, this is great, we don't need to say goodbye, let's just carry on. And well, I would love it one time if, I know it's so unlikely that he'd ever do it, but if they announced a companion departure and then they didn't actually depart and they carried on for the next series, just to like troll and sort of like make you unsure, even when you get an official press release of saying they're going to leave, still making you a bit unsure of whether they're actually going to leave or not. I think that would be a great sort of shock twist, if you like. Clearly it would frustrate people who don't like the companion of the Doctor or whatever it is who's going to leave, but it would be sort of like a lovely moment for all the fans of that character, that they're actually going to get another series of them completely out of the blue, if you like. But I don't think that will ever happen, and of course it doesn't happen here. And well, to my shock and really sadly, really, in the end, it was the Doctor who loses his memory, just as Clara's saying, I don't think I can ever forget you. And the Doctor, I don't think you're going to have to. It's the lines are so, Jenna and Peter do such a great job in this scene. Well, really throughout, their chemistry generally and their performances are so fantastic throughout this series. It's sort of been top notch, and it's so disappointing that neither of them are going to get any awards for it, I don't think. It's really disappointing, but this scene in particular, just sort of conveying the emotion and the relationship they have, it's all done and delivered so perfectly, I think, and creates such a great emotional scene, but such a great scene to effectively end their relationship, ends the friendship. Because when the Doctor, at that final moment, Clara can't smile for him, but he'll remember it anyway. and he acknowledges that he's become the hybrid. I broke all my own rules, I became the hybrid, so that's kind of suggesting that just the Doctor is, but it's partly Clara as well, I think, and it's all just a bit wishy-washy. But whatever, and of course, that last moment where the Doctor drops to the floor and his eyes close, that's it. He forgets Clara, and it's goodbye Clara Oswald, really, because the Doctor doesn't remember her anymore. And it was almost more painful movie than seeing Clara die, because although I love Clara, I love the Doctor even more as like the character, particularly the 12th Doctor. And it was such a sort of painful moment to just think that he's lost all the memories of his best friend of such a long part of his life. And he's lost all those memories of her, and well, he kind of, I'll come to it a bit later about if he gets it back and stuff. But it's such a sad ending, it really is. And well, he wakes up back in America, back on sort of just pre the scene that we've been sort of slotting in throughout the episode with the Doctor and waitress Clara, and he gives the Clara Who line, because why not? You can throw in a little Clara Who reference, because that's how we roll. And well, it's also a really sort of painful scene for Clara as well in the diner, when we sort of cut back to what we had been following and this kind of stuff. He can remember the adventures they had, Nice War on a submarine and the Mummy on the Orient Express, but he just can't remember anything about Clara herself. He can't remember how she looked, how she talked, how she laughed. He can't remember anything. It's just blank. And then I think probably one of the most heartbreaking lines for Clara would have been that one: if I met her again, I'd absolutely know her. And you can just see her sort of face drop. She just looks like she wants to burst into tears there, because it's kind of, she'd always been hoping that the Doctor would remember her, really. Even though one of his memories had been wiped, she was already hoping that she would be remembered. But that's the sort of moment for her where that's it, it's over, he's forgotten me, and that's the end of our travelling and our relationship. And it's all, yeah, it's such a sort of sad ending, it really is. Although it's all hopeful sort of for Clara, but in terms of the Doctor, it's all very sort of, yeah, sad. And it's very wonderful scenes. And well, Clara gives her last line about sort of memories become stories, what if some of them become songs? And so Clara's theme is now kind of the memory of Clara, if you like, for the Doctor. That song is now kind of what Clara has become, really. She's become a song rather than a memory and a friend to the Doctor. She's just a song now. And well, Clara steps away, that last line, that last shot, closing the door of the diner TARDIS, and that's it. The Doctor and Clara are done, and they'll probably never meet again. I don't think they'll ever meet again, frankly. Well, certainly not in Stephen's reign. It wouldn't make sense, I don't think, for Clara to come back in Series 10. It doesn't seem right. It'd be too soon, and it'd be difficult to sort it out, because the Doctor's supposed to have forgotten her. And obviously that kind of takes away from the potential of hallucination-y stuff like Eleven had in his regeneration scene with Amy, because he can't remember Clara very well anymore. Clara flies away in her diner TARDIS, the TARDIS that dematerialises from out of around the Doctor, and then, well, I'll come to a bit about that in a minute. But of course, although as sad as it is with the Doctor forgetting and everything, it's still a lovely, hopeful ending. And I think personally it's the perfect ending for Clara. There's two ways of looking at it. It's either why don't they ever kill people? She should have died. This kind of stuff. But there's also the way of looking at it. Why do companions have to end with a sad, miserable ending where there's no chance of them ever coming back and this kind of stuff? I mean, Peter said that he felt it would have been really sad if Clara could never come back again, and so he was very pleased that ending came about. And well, clearly Jenna was as well. I think she would like that ending. And I think it's great that the character development is complete, that she wanted to be like the Doctor, and although it's seemingly taken away, the Doctor's given that to her, kind of like one last thing. He can't remember her anymore, but the one last thing he helped her kind of with and gave her was the opportunity to effectively become the Doctor. She's got her own companion with me, a shield or whatever, and they can fly off and have adventures for quite a long time. I'm not going to say an infinite amount of time, because eventually she's got to go back to Trap Street. she's got to face the Raven in the end. We all have to face the Raven in the end, as she says. And she will always have to go back to Trap Street at some point, just she gets a little bit extra time, a little bit of wiggle room, as they call it, to go and have more adventures. And I personally think that's a great ending to Clara, to give her... It's not immortality, because she's still got to die. I know everybody's got to... Immortals don't die, effectively, and she's still going to go and die, so she's not immortal in that sense. Yes, she can go and have lots more adventures. But I think that's all just... Yeah, overall, it's the perfect character development as far as I'm concerned, and I know I'm sure lots of people, you might disagree with me on this, on my general thoughts on this part of the episode. I'm sure there's lots of people who will never like Clara's exit, and they'll always think that Clara should just have been dead in Face the Raven and that was it. And fair enough, that's your opinion, and I respect that, but I disagree, and I think that this added to and improved her exit even more, and just made it the perfect exit for her. And so coming to the final couple of minutes with the Doctor, and I think that a lot of it would have come back together in his head when the Diner TARDIS dematerialises. Clearly he's thinking, that's a bit strange, and then he sees the picture of Clara painted onto the TARDIS, and I think he would have put two and two together, and he would have... I don't think he'll ever fully remember what went on with Clara, exactly how she was, but I'm sure a lot of it would have come back there. He would have had an image of her, at least, being able to piece it back together, and he would have started to sort of piece all the memories of her back together. I think it would have been very possible to do that at that point. And I think really the most important thing that is gone is the emotion of it. Of course he's kind of sad, but he doesn't quite know why he's a little bit sad, and he hasn't got that desire to try and save Clara anymore, because at this point, to some degree, he did kind of need to have his mind wiped and have that emotion taken away, because there wasn't really any way he could carry on with that emotion of losing Clara anymore, because he was just completely a different person, if you like, and unable to really sort of control himself at that point. So he needed to have that memory of Clara, I think, taken away, and to sort of start afresh and start anew from obviously the next episode with some sadness, but really that full emotion and anger and frustration and desire to get her back is gone. He maybe has quite a lot of the memories of her back, but it's just sort of nice, maybe almost nice stories, the Doctor calls it, as memories become stories. So they're almost just... Clara's just a story in his head really now, I think, and that's okay. And it's a lovely ending for the series, I think, and it allows you to carry on with lots of adventures, and means we don't get mopey Doctor that you had in The Snowmen, sulking over losing Amy and Rory. I mean, it makes sense at that point, but it's nice that we didn't end up covering the same ground all over again with the Husbands of River Song, because Husbands of River Song is very much a light-hearted romp, a more comedy episode. Clearly there's some sort of sad, emotional scenes towards the end of it, and there is a few references to Clara where you can see that he's still a little bit sad about that, but I think that a lot of that's been cleared and was needing to be cleared by this sort of wiping his memory from it. And clearly with all the time to Series 10, he'll be nice and fresh and ready to go again, if you like, for Series 10 with a new companion, or a fresh start on this kind of thing, which, as sad as it is to say, is what the Doctor needed. He got too attached to her, too intertwined, and they needed to start afresh. And so it's all a nice, interesting, nice scene at the end with the Doctor and the TARDIS, as the TARDIS powers up once again back there, sort of after, I guess, being kind of a rest mode, kind of is asleep for a fair amount of time while the Doctor's gone off in the confession dial, and all this the last two episodes have happened, if you like. And he gets his red coat back. Of course, Clara's left the message, run you clever boy and be a Doctor, which is a lovely merging of the two, sort of almost the two exits that she has, the sort of the name of the Doctor exit, run you clever boy, well obviously of all the first three, but of actual Clara exits, of that one, and of the be a Doctor line, don't be a warrior, be a Doctor, from Car's Face the Raven exit. So I think it's a lovely sort of combination of the two put together as a lovely final word from Clara to the Doctor, to you go out there and be the Doctor again, be the Doctor properly, and go and have lots of more adventures. and that's when he gets the red coat back on and he becomes the Doctor again, I think. And he's full on sort of back to proper Doctor mode, which is, and he gets his new Sonic of course as well, which we see a lot more of in the Christmas special. And it's very long. It's quite a big one. I think I haven't really seen that many shots of it, and I haven't seen Husband's River Song since Christmas, so I'll be rewatching it again soon, and then I'll get a bit more memories of it. So I'll talk about the Sonic more next week, but it was nice to see it back, because I think it was time to have it back. It doesn't mean you need to get rid of the sunglasses, but it was nice to have the Sonic screwdriver back. And well, one final thing to end the episode with that lovely final shot, which I think is just fantastic, of the Doctor's TARDIS flying off in one direction and Clara's Dino TARDIS flying off the other. So they're both going to go off and have lots of adventures together, and I think that's just sort of the perfect ending, frankly. And I absolutely love that. And so there you go, that's the end of Series 9, that's the end of Clara Oswald. I think the final time we'll ever see her, certainly for a long time. I'd be surprised if she comes back anytime soon. So that's sad that we'll never see her again. And I was watching the documentaries, like Clara's Journey, I think it is, on the Series 9 box set, and it did make me feel a bit sad that we're not going to be able to see her again, because she is one of my favourite. I think she probably is my favourite companion. Well, that's pretty much it. I believe I gave Hellbent a sort of 8.5, 8.6 out of 10. It is a top-notch story. I know lots of people have criticisms for it, and it's not absolutely perfect, but I think, judging it on the episode as it is, not what you wanted it to be, it is a fantastic episode, and really completes the series very well. It's not up with Heaven Sent, but nothing's up with Heaven Sent, so that's no worries there. And it's a very satisfying and great ending to the series. So there we go, that was my full review of Hellbent, the Series 9 finale, where, well, there's certainly lots to discuss in it, and I think I've covered pretty much everything in it, probably more thorough than I need to be, and in the future I won't quite go into so much detail. But do let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on everything relating to Hellbent, particularly Clara's exit, because obviously that's the biggest point, her coming back and then sort of dying, but not. But she's immortal now, sort of. It's all complicated. So there you go, let me know your thoughts on all that. And well, that's finally the end of the Series 9 reviews, which must have started in like 4 months ago, with a 2-month delay in the middle, but we finally got through all 12 episodes of Series 9. And so from next week I'm going to be doing the next 4 weeks, 4 Fridays, I'm going to be having a look at a season of Classic Who, the 4 serials within a season. I have suggested which season it might be. Let's just say it features my favourite Doctor from the classic era, my favourite classic Doctor, let's say that much, and it has 4 serials. So which series is it? Let me know in the comments, and I will be doing all 4 serials of that season over 4 weeks. Looking forward to doing all those. A bit more Classic Who content on my channel, because it's all good stuff there as well. So that's pretty much it from this video. Thank you for all your comments and likes and everything with all the Series 9 reviews, and as we move on to some new stuff with Classic Who, I hope you'll enjoy a slightly different, shorter format, a bit easier to watch I think, because I'll try and keep it a bit more brief, a bit more focused on everything, rather than this that becomes slightly rambly when I go on a bit long. I'm trying to keep that sort of down a little bit more now, because my video's gotten too long, and I'm rambling now. So that's it. Like the video, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you again next week for another review. Goodbye!